Part 3, the pushback and the payoff. Last year at TechShow, I kept my mouth shut. I saw things I disagreed with, I heard things that bothered me, and I just let it go. This year, I couldn't do that, and I'm glad I didn't, because the two best things that happened to me at this conference both came from speaking up. This is part 3 of my TechShow 26 recap. Parts 1 and 2 covered the pitch contest, how I used AI to prepare, the state of legal AI, and the speakers who impressed me. Now I'm going to tell you about 2 moments, one in a keynote and one in a breakout session, that remind me why I go to these things. So Thursday morning keynote. Legal futurist and analyst, written books, speaks worldwide, and as far as I can tell, has never practiced law. The speaker, I actually met them last year at either the Clio event or the Tech Show, and I was less than impressed. His thesis was to redefine competence for attorneys and to lower barriers to become an attorney because AI makes tasks easier. So my pushback out loud in the room was because Rule 1.1 already requires competence. Competence is the 8:56 a.m. hearing moment, figuring it out under pressure, managing a client through something they've never navigated, the human dimension, not just the technical one. AI doesn't teach that. Experience does. I saw a post about it on LinkedIn and gave my comment there. It was a post by Sean Harrington, actually, who gave one of the best talks at the conference. But I posted that I didn't get it, right? I didn't get what the point was when there's already Rule 1.1 that requires confidence. Later that day at lunch, I sat down with a table of strangers. One of them turned out to be Bob Ambrogi, who's a legal tech journalist. He's one of the people that I reached out to. I told him, hey, I sent you a message, but no worries. I know he gets tons of messages and he is very nice about it. I shared my pushback about the keynote. Through that conversation, I came to a better understanding what the point he was trying to make, which was simply that lawyers need to evolve. And honestly, that's obvious. Nobody disagrees with that. But what we all agreed with at that table is that evolution doesn't replace mentorship. Lawyers still need experience. They need someone who's been in the room to teach them how to serve clients. Technology changes how fast you draft, but doesn't teach you how to think like a lawyer. That has to be passed down attorney to attorney. That's the part the keynote missed. And here's the thing, by speaking up, posting about it, I ended up meeting someone because of it. And then that morning, that keynote, my neighbor was a great contact. When I was saying I disagreed with it, the guy sitting next to me was in the voice AI business. He actually gave me some great feedback, showed me some of the ways, some of the things that they're using it for. I'm only using it for inbound calls right now to manage my law office after hours or my team's busy, but they're also using it to make outbound calls, to return calls to leads. And I saw a couple other voice AI companies there that were doing outbound. There's that option in Go High Level to do outbound. I just haven't messed around with it at all. But it did get me thinking about some potential uses for an outbound voice AI that I may be using in the future. So that connection, it wouldn't have happened if I didn't stay quiet. So show up with the point of view and the right people will find you. The next moment I want to talk about came at one of the breakout sessions. There was a session about voice AI, 2 speakers. One was Ruby Powers. I really liked her. She was great, really honest. Let's just say the other one I wasn't too impressed with either. I don't think he liked me either. I tried to talk to him after. But the other person, he's actually in the legal tech business. I researched his company after, and he had a voice AI. So at one point, they asked us to raise hands, anyone that's actually using a voice AI. And I raised my hand, and only one other person raised their hand. A little bit later, they asked a little bit more about what we were doing. I turned around to see the other person that raised their hand was actually the person in the business that I met that morning at the keynote. So I was actually the only attorney there in the room that was using voice AI. So I explained how I use Go High Level to set up the voice AI. It was really easy to set it up. Later on in that conference, someone asked if you should build out the voice AI yourself or just hire someone. The speaker pointed to the vendor and said, you should just hire someone like that. And that's where I couldn't keep quiet this year. I raised my hand and I was like, hey, I don't know how to code. I created a voice AI and it was really easy. That's a moment where I got to stick up to my fellow attorneys, my attorneys that are practicing law, the ones that go to a legal tech conference to learn about legal tech. So I wanted to be honest about my experience and to make sure that they're not overwhelmed. So my issue isn't that vendors, being there. My issue is discouraging attorneys from empowering themselves when your business depends on them hiring you or one of your buddies. So that's a pattern at this conference, and it needs to be called out. Ruby Powers, she was great. I love what she shared. She was very honest about the fact that her firm spent a lot of money on consultants trying to set up a voice AI, and they still weren't successful. I connected with her after, kind of apologized. I don't want to share too much. I tried to talk to the other speaker and kind of apologize for interjecting. He was nice, but he definitely gave me the cold shoulder and did not want to talk to me. It was clear that he was not happy. But what I told Ruby is that I got to stick up for the attorneys, the people that go to that conference when it's really easy to create a piece of legal tech. They should know about it. Later, I ran into the voice AI guy. I'm glad that I was able to see him, and I apologized to him. I was like, hey, sorry for killing your business, but I got to stick up for my attorney. I got to share what I'm doing, and I'm not super smart. I don't know how to code or do anything very technical. So if I can figure it out, regular attorneys and regular business owners can also figure it out themselves. So the futurists are wrong about one thing. The profession is not shrinking. It's about to grow faster than it has in decades. LegalZoom didn't replace lawyers, it created more work for lawyers. AI is going to do the same thing at scale. LegalZoom could never have imagined every AI-generated document that goes wrong, every trust that contradicts itself, every client who finds out years later the AI didn't handle it. That's an attorney's phone ringing. I went to Chicago, spoke up, and came home with real connections. None of that came from a session agenda. It came from the right jacket and the willingness to raise my hand. I went to ABA TECHSHOW 26 as a practicing attorney, not a scholar, not a vendor, not a futurist. As someone who spoke up when he disagreed and walked away with real connections because of it. The industry isn't shrinking, it's growing. Maat Legal is built for exactly that. Subscribe and come along for the ride. I'm Riley Stana. This is Maat Legal. Let's go to work.